Hello and good evening. Welcome to the UBC News Tonight, the 10 o'clock edition. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and we're honored to be the ones reading to you the news tonight. Mugalu Mohammed joins us on sign language. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. In our news tonight, Lands Minister Betty Kamya and Junior Minister Passes Namuganza failed to convince Committee on Land Compensations. Furthermore, Equal Opportunities Commission new leadership vetted. Hajat Sophia Nalule, new chairperson to the commission. And then furthermore, 20 arrested in Palisa district over illegal power connections. And then in sports, Uganda Premier League enters second round with teams contesting at either end of the table. For joining us, we now give you the news in detail. Now, the ad hoc committee of Parliament established to investigate and scrutinize supplementary requests on land compensations has ejected Lands Minister Betty Olive Namisango Kamya and Junior Minister Passes Namuganza for allegedly appearing with shoddy documents before the committee. Now, the chairperson of the committee, Bitechero Veronica, adjourned the meeting to give the ministry time to recognize the documents in question. These are the details.
The ad hoc committee instituted by the Speaker of Parliament a week ago to investigate supplementary expenditures on land compensations for 8 cases, including one of Ndeba and Lusanja, that were denied a supplementary, started scrutinizing the supplementary in question. Thursday, the committee interacted with officials from Uganda Land Commission who presented necessary information as required. The committee summoned officials from the Ministry of Lands to appear on 22nd in a letter the Minister for Lands, Betty Kamya, claims to have received on 21st. Despite reading the letter and appearing, members of this committee were surprised to see the team disorganized with scanty information and no necessary documents.
The committee would wonder, is that the way you normally store the presidential directives? That you can't even trace where they are?
No.
So don't you have files as a ministry? You can't even tell how you file your records?
Betty Kamya started by presenting Muzei Rabukurukuru and family land in Shema, where he wanted to evict about 3,000 people, and the president gave a directive for a supplementary for compensation. But Kamya failed to submit documents for this process and the year in which the evaluation was done.
Family of Muzei Rabukurukuru, when did the claim start? 2006. 2006. When the valuation was. Because you gave us 2016.
And what documents did you submit? Don't you have a file of what you did in order to request for the money?
The committee then decided to give the minister time to go back, prepare and return, instructing her that she will be presenting case by case. The Undersecretary, Minister of Lands, Richard Juko, pleaded with the chairperson to allow them present what they have, but his submission was trashed by the chairperson.
Yes, that is now our dilemma, because we have to go to ULC, retrieve the payments from the system, and then the documents from ULC, because they are not in the ministry. My proposal was that if the minister could be allowed to provide the documentation that we have.
Secretary, we are not going to be be selective in our investigations. We are going to be thorough in our investigations. So you cannot select to us what you want to give us and then keep what you don't want to give us.
Some MPs disagreed with State Minister for Lands' approach, Passes Namuganza, of presenting her own case.
His Excellency, the President instructed the Prime Minister to handle. First, before you proceed, I'm pleading my case. So, you're not yet granted.
At the tail end of the committee session, the chairperson assured the ministers and technocrats that the committee is meant to investigate, then recommend better ways of managing land acquisitions.
These are not your personal documents. Can you go dig out everything that is pertaining to all these supplementary amounts that you received? The date they were requested for, what you did in your ministry up to payment. We are interested in every letter. Whether somebody did wrong or not, we want.
This committee was established following the chairperson of Uganda Land Commission writing to the Speaker disowning the request for supplementary funds for compensation by the Ministry of Lands. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabenji at Parliament.
Well, it should be known that the ministers later returned to justify their submissions, whose results shall be updated in our subsequent bulletins when we get the results. Now, in other news, recently appointed chairperson for Equal Opportunities Commission, Hajat Sophia Nalule Juko, has appeared before the Parliamentary Appointments Committee for vetting. Nalule, who admits attending job interviews for the first time, pledges to address the plight of all disadvantaged, including the disabled community. She will replace Sylvia Ntambi, whose contract expired in December 2020. At the time, she was battling corruption-related charges. Now, Nalule was appointed alongside Joel Ojok as vice chairperson, with Dennis Tumusime, Ibrahim Edema, and Sister Mary Wasagali as commission members. These are the details.
We shouldn't be talking about or dreaming about the transformation agenda to middle income when other people are not participating in the development. If you know the story of the Asian tigers, when they started their road to middle income or to first world, one of the things they first looked at was the development of human capital. And good enough, where I'm going, inshallah, one of the thematic areas they are looking at is development of human capital. So I can actually start on that one. Human capital not only of the staff, but human capital of Ugandans, so that everybody can participate in the transformation agenda.
"20 people have been arrested for illegal power connections in Palisa district during an operation mounted by Umeme. The exercise has been dubbed Operation Komboa, with the intention of arresting players in the illegal power connection arena of issues. Now let's take a look at what transpired.
Those arrested are being detained at Palisa Police Station as investigations into illegal power connections continue. John Nwamanya, the Umeme Metering Service Manager in charge of Kampala Eastern North Region, says Mbale region contributes 5% of the global losses, approximately over £1 billion shillings per month.
We are here to encourage our consumers that if they see anything in relation to the illegal operations that are happening, if they see Kamufus on the network, if they see anyone that is having any activity that is illegal on the network, let them report. Secondly, this is to let the nation know that if you do not come through and report any of those elements where someone is stealing power, the person who's actually paying genuine for that power is paying for that one who's stealing. So at the end of the day, we lose not just as Umeme, but as the electricity sector and as a nation. Electricity theft is economic crime. I would like to emphasize to our customers that please, let us desist, let us report what we see in the field there.
During the operation, 15 people were arrested for illegal power connection in Operation Komboa in Palisa and Mbale districts. However, residents disclosed that the increasing cases of illegal connections and power theft leads to hiked Umeme power charges to connection.
For me, I blame the Umeme officials, simply because they've not come out to sensitize the people about Umeme. Then also their tariffs are very high. Find that one unit, you pay 1,000. So a common man who's operating a retail shop, you find that might not actually equally benefit.
According to Nwamanya, after someone illegally connecting himself to the power grid, people ended up accusing Umeme officials of connecting culprits, hence tarnishing the image of the institution.
This is to let the nation know that if you do not come through and report any of those elements where someone is stealing power, the person who's actually paying genuinely for that power is paying for that one who's stealing. So at the end of the day, we lose not just as Umeme, but as the electricity sector and as a nation.
Peter Kauju, the Umeme spokesperson, however, attributed the power high tariffs to government that sets power tariffs, with Umeme doing the implementation.
Also, these tariffs change quarterly, and they are set by government through the Electricity Regulatory Authority. We publicize them in newspapers, we put them on in media, TV and radio. So for this quarter, these tariffs were publicized and published, and we indicated that there is what we call the lifeline units. These are the first 15 units when you're loading. Your first loading in a month, each comes at 250 shillings, Uganda shillings. And then anything above the 15, it is charged the standard rate of 750. But if people continue to vandalize and steal power, we will continue to experience these costs, of and complaints about tariffs. But we want them to go through the right channels, pay, as government is also investing heavily into new generation plants, and this will definitely have an impact.
The findings made after the operation was that there was a direct power supply, with locals being connected without meters. In 2016, power theft in Mbale sub-region was recorded at 60%, but due to consistent efforts applied by Umeme, power theft in the region stands at 35%, which translates to 2.8 million power units lost, which represents 1.4 billion Uganda shillings per month. Sudat Kaye, Yiga Mohammed, UBC.
Furthermore, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has made proposals to amend the Excise Duty Bill of 2021 and Fish Bill, where fuel prices have been increased by 100 shillings for gasoline and gas oil per litre. The State Minister for Finance, Bahati David, while presenting the amendments to the Finance Committee of Parliament, said that this taxation measure is expected to generate 196 billion and finance critical expenditure of the budget, especially the COVID-19 vaccine, which requires 495 billion shillings. Details follow.
State Minister for Finance David Bahati and the Director Taxes Moses Kagwa have presented proposals to amend the Excise Duty Bill 2021 and Fish before the Finance Committee of Parliament. The ministry proposes to charge $70 per ton of plastic manufactured from a factory without a recycling plant and 2.5% tax on imported raw materials for plastic. This is meant to generate 20 billion shillings. However, those with recycling plants will be exempted from contributing because they support in conservation of the environment.
Importers, and they are bringing in a finished product. Two, we are targeting people who are not helping in cleaning up the environment, who don't have recycling plants. So if you don't have a recycling plant, you should pay this as a penalty for you not having that plant. So
the chairman of the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources of Parliament, Kefa Chiwanuka, said this may destabilize the industry a bit since new taxes come with sanctions. However, it will not be changed at this stage because the committee found no defects with the proposed amendments.
Companies feel that we can no longer continue, then they will just have to close. So I was arguing that actually this tax be reduced, that it should be reduced from what government is proposing of the 2.5% to 1.5%, or instead of $70 to $50.
The ministry has also proposed to increase the price of gasoline and gas oil by 100 shillings. This measure is intended to substitute the proposal for license fees under the Traffic, Road and Safety Amendment Bill 2021. It targets to generate 196 billion shillings.
To the committee members and also the stakeholders, we have repressed the license fees with an indirect tax of a modest 100 shillings on fuel per litre, to be able to finance the critical expenditures of our budget, mainly the vaccines for COVID.
There was a strong objection on the traffic and road safety, and the minister agreed with the committee that we shouldn't have such levies. But the alternative way was, instead of losing everything, we put some small tax on the fuel, which in our opinion, the committee agrees with.
The Ministry of Finance has also proposed amendments to the Fish Act to charge 10% on the fish mao exported outside Uganda instead of the initial 70,000 shillings. This, to Minister Bahati, will encourage compliance. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwitabinji at Parliament.
The State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Okello Oryem, has committed Uganda to work with any foreign partners so as long as the spirit is in good faith with the country's development goals. Minister Oryem was heading the ministry staff together with UN dignitaries for a tree planting exercise in Wakiso district in commemoration of the International Women's Day. Details in this report.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs staff, together with the diplomatic corps, have commemorated the International Women's Day with a gesture of enhancing reforestation. The team has planted trees in Nakindiba Central Forest in Kakiri, Wakiso district.
It is very clear. Once someone is caught, whenever is encroaching in wetlands, is against the forest and what, that person will be answerable, because it is our role. It is our role to protect the wetlands and environment. So,
the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Okello Oryem, explains the gesture of collaborating with the diplomatic corps in this exercise as intended to strengthen ties over a common goal.
I think women are very focused, and I think that all homes and communities stand to benefit a lot if we can educate our women more, empower them more, and give them more opportunities. I'm sure that you can see fundamental changes if you can continue encouraging women and empowering them. I have seen this. I lived in Western Europe.
Minister Oryem is optimistic of the Uganda-US relations despite alleged sanctions.
We are open to discussions. I don't open for discussions. We are open to discuss these matters they raised on elections. We are ready to discuss with them. We are ready to inform them that we as Uganda are committed to our constitutionalism. We are committed to the issue of human rights. We are committed to the issue of governance. And all these matters we can discuss with them if they so wish.
The delegation of diplomats was led by the UN country representative Rosa Malango, who called for the gesture of restoring forests to be an annual event in the bid to achieve smart climate globally.
That this should become an annual event until Uganda recovers 24% coverage of its forests. The United Nations remains committed to supporting green industrialization, climate-smart model villages, towns and cities, and promoting the values of Ubuntu Mulamu, good citizenship, through the Bulungi Bwanzi, so that we can protect our environment and our nature and our communities.
This gesture of planting trees has come at a time when government is proposing to borrow 286 billion shillings to restore forests. The government of Uganda in 2020 gave away 900 acres part of Goma forest to be cleared by Hoima Sugar Factory and be replaced with sugar cane. Abdul Nasser, Lubwama, UBC News.
Furthermore, Ntoroko District Resident Commissioner Kawamara Mishak has appealed to government to consider addressing the underdevelopment challenges faced by Ntoroko District. RDC Kawamara wants government to allocate a special fund to address the post-flood effects in the health sector of the district, communication and agriculture respectively.
Representative to Ntoroko District, Mishak Kawamara, says the district is prone to disasters because of its location in the Rift Valley, and this has serious impact on infrastructure and community development.
Ntoroko needs to be given special consideration by government. There should be a special fund given to Ntoroko to handle some of these matters. Because now, for example, health, we are affected. Our health centers are badly equipped. People have been displaced. There's no outreach. When I went to Kanara sub-county and I found people were there in camps, they had no health centers, no outreach, no immunization.
So nitushaba chaba sikaba tu ambulance abakuba eji area yiturimu kilometers ni nyingi kurugana kwika Fort Portal nanga kwika aho kukwatibwa huo na kuriya.
Patrick Mugisa, a nursing officer at Kanara Health Center 3 in Kanara Town Council, says the health center is in dire need with no admission wards for general patients and operates in dilapidated infrastructure. The facility has only one ward for maternity services, which at times accommodates all patients. Currently, the ward has no inpatients because of lack of medical supplies. Mugisa claims the center had spent months without medical drugs and some patients were bounced back while others were referred to other facilities.
Living along the population that we manage around, still we have people from, it is a border facility. We have people from other areas, like people from Ndaiga, which are supposed to be worked on in the Kagadi district. People from Bundibugyo still get services from here.
The LC1 chairman, Kachwangumu village in Kanara sub-county, says they have been neglected since the floods hit them last year, leaving the entire village submerged and the community members living on a peninsula.
Iko kitu ya muhimu sana ama kitu ya kupatia mtu aibu kuona mtu anakusapoti lakini makati mnapata shida anakusahau.
The natives here have no kind description of what they go through.
Batu kutu juju kulala mzuri hakuna, kitu mingi imeharibika. So iliomba wale wa viongozi ya juu na wale tulitoka kusupport vile kwa uchaguzi, ilikumbuka inabidi babu vile batusaidie haraka sana.
Meanwhile, livestock has also not been spared by the perils of the floods, as most of them have been affected by various diseases and are starving due to lack of pasture. The district production officer, Patrick Msinge, says thousands of cattle and goats have died of several illnesses due to waterlogging.
The cultural leader of Tienga Dola Cultural Institution, His Highness Moses Stephen Owori, has joined other voices to rally Ugandans to embrace measures put in place by government to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Kwar Adola's call comes at a time when the section of Ugandans are spreading rumors against the vaccine. He was getting his first jab at his palace late this week.
Ever since government kicked off the exercise of COVID-19 vaccination in the country, several allegations have been made by a section of Ugandans suggesting how the medicine could be harmful to human life. The propaganda, to a certain extent, has compromised public response to the vaccination exercise in some parts of the country. However, the Ministry of Health, through its corporate social responsibility, is putting right the damaged image about the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Populations Act of shying away from the exercise has attracted some leaders' attention. While taking his first jab, the cultural leader of Tengadola Cultural Institution, His Highness Moses Stephen Owori, warns Ugandans against peddling such rumors.
Pandemic has continued to be a ravage. Hundreds and thousands of people are still dying. As I said earlier on, we are very, very grateful to our government for prompt action. I appeal to all my people, all the people in Toro district, to come forward and get vaccinated.
He says the virus is here to stay. Rallying Ugandans to embrace measures put by government to prevent it is the way to go.
It's not just a joke. It's not something that you may say, maybe. It is a real threat. And when you think you feel healthy today, you never know the next moment. You may not know who you are meeting, who is already carrying the disease, and you could be the next victim. So my appeal is that we should not hesitate, we should not keep postponing, but rather when there's opportunity to get vaccinated, hurry and do so.
Kwaradola, who remains grateful to the government's efforts towards fighting the virus, appealed to Ugandans to instead emulate their leaders when they take lead on public programs that benefit the community.
Furthermore, the Turkish embassy in Kampala has marked Turkey National Sovereignty and Children's Day together with the 101st anniversary of the foundation of the Turkish Parliament. The ceremonies were organized in conjunction with Always Be Tolerant organization. The ambassador of Turkey to Uganda, Kerem Alp, hosted children, head teachers, and the media and members of the Turkish community at the embassy in Kololo. Details follow.
Also be able to have more muscle behind the education support.
The Embassy of Turkey in Kampala has marked the establishment of the Turkish Parliament bestowed by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of the Republic of Turkey, with National Sovereignty and Children's Day on April 23rd.
To learn to teach our children to be heard, and to be heard without hurting each other. That is what a battle is all about. It's about tolerance. If we bring them up like that, they are going to be peace everywhere.
The ambassador of Turkey to Uganda, Kerem Alp, hosted children, head teachers, the media and members of the Turkish community at the Turkish embassy in Kololo for the 101st anniversary of the nation's parliament, as well as National Sovereignty and Children's Day at National Day at the embassy.
Relations between Turkey and Uganda are also progressing much faster.
April 23rd National Sovereignty and Children's Day is one of the most beautiful manifestations of importance and value given to children by the Turkish nation.
We recorded an increase of our trade volume of more than 60% last year, and already this year we have doubled the figures of last year, pre-COVID.
The day was organized in conjunction with Always Be Tolerant organization. Turkey has been marking this day for close to a century.
Abeto philosophy is very much in line with the approach of the peoples of Turkey and promoting the cause of the children.
On this day, Turkish children are allowed in the current parliament, the first parliament building, and Anıtkabir, the mausoleum of Atatürk.
I pay tribute to Mustafa Atatürk, the founder of the Republic of Turkey, for the good vision he had for his country. Whenever we bring these young ones, because we are the ones to show them the light. And I was reading this document and they were telling us in Turkey, these ones were supposed to be in parliament for one day, sharing what happens in the parliament.
The date, originally calendared as National Sovereignty Day, has also been celebrated as Children's Day. The day was first observed in Turkey in 1925 as Children's Day, announced by a children's charity endorsed by Atatürk, who subsequently declared it official.
We have to have the establishment here. That establishment will be the Turkish Education Foundation, the Marif Foundation, for which we are waiting the approval of Ugandan authorities. It shouldn't be lasting long.
In its first year, Turkey hosted children from the USSR, Iraq, Italy, Romania and Bulgaria, and continued to host thousands of children from 150 different countries over decades.
With you. Now, what is next?
Muslim leaders have been advised to remain transparent and utilize this special time of Ramadan to sacrifice a lot to the needy as COVID-19 continues to ravage the economies of the world. Imam Yusuf Mutimba also urged Muslims to use this time to repent, because it's during this time of the holy month of Ramadan that God rewards the righteous and believers.
Ramadan 2021 is very different to previous years, but there are still rules that must be adhered to, unlike the Ramadan that was celebrated in 2020. When mosques had been closed due to COVID-19 pandemic, this time they are open for communal worship with limited numbers, social distancing, and other COVID-19 guidelines. Whatever the circumstances imposed by the pandemic and government restrictions, the basic rules for this 9th month of Islamic calendar still stand. Ramadan was the time when the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and here at Chibuli Mosque, Muslims have been requested to celebrate the revelation of the Holy Scriptures. Fasting is compulsory for all adult Muslims except in special circumstances. On every day of this month, Sheikh Yusuf Mutimba has appealed to Muslims here to do away with greed, a culture that is void of Muslims.
Wattamu n'okubeera nga abantu balulunkana, abantu balulunkanye, omuntu ne bamugamba nti owaaye saddaaka naye nga tasobola kusaddaaka yajima. Omwezi nga guno ne gujja nga mwezi gwa kitiibwa nga tasobola kusiibulula wadde okukwatako mu nsawo wadde okweyisa obulungi wabula n'abeera awo nga ye mukakanyavu omutima gwalwala.
Mutimba has re-echoed his call to Muslims to make lots of swadak as the only way for God to weigh them on the day of judgment.
Temulowooza nti Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mulyaza amaanyi oba mwebafu kwebyo bye tukola. Abaluganda tuyitirize nnyo mu mwezi guno okudda eri Katonda kuba buli kintu kyonna kyonna akituleetedde. Ko kwegamba akantu buli muntu yenna asobola okubeera nga atukuza ekisiibo kye n'okuwaayo okusaddaaka, okusoma Qur'ane,
Sheikh Mutimba says that remaining transparent in the holy month of Ramadan is key to all Muslim leaders.
To
Today marks the second Ashura forgiveness in Ramadan, and Muslims must seek for forgiveness of Allah Almighty and regret for all their sins. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
High Court Civil Division has set 26th April 2021 to give its ruling in the application filed by Rhino Fund Uganda against the Ziwa Rhino and Wildlife Ranch Limited and Captain Joseph Charles Roy. Now the case before Judge Jameson Kalimani court is to determine whether it gives an interim order to Rhino Fund Uganda staying despite the eviction notice given to them by the Ziwa Rhino and Wildlife Ranch Limited and Captain Joseph Charles Roy.
Following the conflicts between Rhino Fund Uganda and Ziwa Rhino and Wildlife Ranch Limited and Captain Joseph Charles Roy, this prompted Rhino Fund Uganda to file a suit in courts of law, which court has heard today. The case before High Court Civil Registrar Jameson Kalimani, the applicant Rhino Fund Uganda, informed court on how they are operating the sanctuary.
What does that mean? That you go and try to evict to change the status quo. You fail. Now you want to come to court and mislead court. Oh, there's nothing protected. Then if there's nothing protected, what were you evicting?
Rhino Fund Uganda, through its lawyer Henry Chilunda, told court that although there is a pending matter in another court, they have received threats from the respondents, telling them to vacate the place, which they want court to look into and determine this matter.
Of the affidavit in support of the application, which clearly states that the applicant on 15th of April stormed with use of goons hired by them, stormed the sanctuary.
The applicant also dismissed the allegations that they shifted their offices from the sanctuary to Ntinda, although this was objected by defense.
And the general manager even clearly indicated that to come here came from the sanctuary.
But the letter is there for everyone to read. The head office and the ED are relocated. And now they are coming back to sneak in through an interim, through an injunction.
In his submissions, Richard Omongole, counsel to Ziwa Rhino and Wildlife Ranch Limited, told court that the application was longly filed before this court since the applicant Vincent Openyi, the general manager of Rhino Fund Uganda, did not first seek permission from the Rhino Fund Uganda to file this suit on its behalf, while presenting letters from Ministry of Tourism dated 19th April 2021 and that of Uganda Wildlife Authority. The respondent informed court that the suit was overtaken by events since the sanctuary is now in full control by the government of Uganda.
The Honor Annex B, dated 21st of January, addressed to the Executive Director, Rhino Fund, notice of revocation of the wildlife use right permit for the management of rhinos, clearly stating takeover of Ziwa Ranch Sanctuary and immediate closure.
the applicant has no permit to manage the rhinos. It was revoked on 21st, and the letter of 20th reaffirmed that position.
The respondent also told court that since the sanctuary is now in full control by the government, for the applicant to decline to vacate the sanctuary, this is a trespass. According to the respondent, there is no threat since the government directed the applicant to vacate the place, and of now it is providing full protection to the rhinos.
These guys are squatters on my land. That's what they are now. They shouldn't be there. They don't have a legal status to be on that land. Let them go and set something else. When these animals go away, when they are taken away to other places, that's where they should be.
After listening to both sides' submissions, High Court Civil Division Registrar Jamson Kalemani said 26 April 2021 to deliver a ruling in this matter. Following the wrangles between the two parties earlier this week, Uganda Wildlife Authority closed the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary from the public until further notice, saying that the conflicts between the parties are likely to compromise the safety of the rhinos. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Definitely a point of concern for those of us that are, looking on to tourism as one of the sectors that has to recover one way or another. Now more than ever, educators and education administrators are looking for new ways to effectively teach students. Debates have been held about how best to train up the next generation. New and innovative ways of delivering instruction have been imagined and new philosophies of education developed. Now we talk to an education expert, Kaziwe Ezekiel, on how schools are going beyond the normal practice of classroom teaching to positioning their students for life outside education. Let's take a look.
The heir to Ruhanga Obusobozi Bisaka Akugizibwe Bisaka has continued to traverse the country on an evangelization tour. His latest visit has been to Lubona in Kamwenge district, where thousands praised the founder of Obusobozi Ruhanga Bisaka for, among others, authoring a holy book.
okwakana koyiro ate babakabuza kandi imejyanyu cyo kugamba kita mukama wacyo nuwa bagamba ngo kitabo kya mwoyo mu kiriyo ngwa mukama wacyo wenyine okugamba ngo kakuba tusanga mu ensobi tusobole kujunana omuntu ahandi.
Praise for President Yoweri Museveni for allowing religion flourish was also reiterated during this gathering.
President wetu Museveni bw'atugonza kandi naita abikiriza abahereza nyine abakwenda abantu bona tulina kusema President Museveni.
Omukwenda Akugizibwe Bisaka promises to be unrelenting in spreading the unity of faith across the country.
We'll now take a short break and return after these messages.
That's their way of stopping HIV. What about you?
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
2020 was the year the tourism sector got disconnected. But this year, we reconnect. To leads, growth, to industry experts, to wider markets, to untapped potential. Be part of the first ever virtual Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo and engage with industry experts from around the world. Find out how you can grow your leads, put your tourism business back on the map, and a whole lot more. Sign up for free at www.poate.co.ug/register and reconnect with your world. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo runs from the 27th to the 29th of April 2021 and is proudly brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Are you a woman entrepreneur? The 50 Million African Women Speak networking platform is here for you. This is a digital platform created to enable African women entrepreneurs like you to access relevant information about financial and non-financial services, business planning, entrepreneurship, mentorship, and networking with successful women entrepreneurs, among others. Visit www.womenconnect.org or download the 50 MAWSP app.
This message is brought to you by the East African Community Secretariat in partnership with Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development with support from the African Development Bank.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight. Now, later on, we played the miss story. There was a mishap. That story was the followers of the Unity of Faith that have continued to praise the founding head, Ruhanga Wabushobozi Saka, for the holy book he authored. Now, into the world of business, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development has approved the Resettlement Action Plan for the East African Crude Oil Pipeline. The approval is specific to Uganda's section of the project and paves the way for the implementation of the second phase of land acquisition and settlement process. Our business reporter Dennis Sigor has more on this report.
So Energy and Mineral Development is officially handing over to the project implementers to take it forward.
Project affected persons in the construction of the East African Crude Oil Pipeline project will start receiving their compensation from the project implementers starting July this year.
And those individuals will be offered the choice of cash compensation or an in-kind compensation. And the in-kind compensation will involve the construction of a new house. So they will have that choice, and they will be making that choice in an informed way. We will provide support, and we give them a period of time to reflect on that choice, because maybe it's not an individual but a household that needs to make that choice. And so if they decide they want cash compensation, they will be given fair cash compensation. If they want in-kind compensation, if they painted the wall or something, the in-kind will be, I think, will compensate that as well.
This new development follows the approval of Uganda's section of the project and paves way for the execution of the second phase of the land acquisition resettlement process. This includes completing the acquisition and securing of the rights to the land and payment of compensation and resettlement of affected households.
The project requires approximately 2,740 acres of land in Uganda, and the affected persons are 3,792. Owing to the linear nature of the project, only 15% of affected land parcel will lose 50% or more of their area, while about 75% of the affected land parcel will lose less than 30% of their area.
According to the implementers of the project, the process has been undertaken in compliance with the laws of the country and international finance cooperation principles.
And the pipeline company itself cannot own the land, so the land will be, the process will be that the pipeline company will pay the compensation. The land right will move from the PAP to the government land commission, and then will be leased back to the company under a lease arrangement, and that's essentially what's set out in the host government agreement.
East African Crude Oil Pipeline is a 1,443 crude oil export pipeline system that will transport Uganda's oil from Kabale in Hoima district to a maritime port facility on the Chongoleani Peninsula in Tanga, Tanzania. Dennis Sigoa and Charles Muge for UBC News.
Furthermore, the government of Uganda is planning to put in place a modern border facility in Ntoroko district with a space of 3 years. The construction of a one-stop border post at the lake shores of Lake Albert is expected to improve cross-border trade between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
The increasing volume of trade between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda has necessitated the construction of a modern customs and immigration facility in Ntoroko district. The volume of trade between Uganda and DR Congo is estimated at over $600 million, but this is largely informal.
We are building up a one-stop border post called OSBP, which will facilitate trading between Uganda and DRC. And this facility will definitely also accommodate immigration and so many other government agencies for faster trading and clearances.
The one-stop border post at the shores of Lake Albert, whose construction works have already commenced, has temporarily displaced the immigration and customs officers. However, they are encouraged by the new development, which they believe will ease trade and fast-track customs clearance.
The volume of trade also will be facilitated and increased through this kind of initiative. We believe this will go a long way in resolving the delays and the queues. The storage challenges also will be taken care of.
As the works continue, the truck drivers who transport and deliver goods to the waiting mega-sized boats are appealing to government to upgrade the dilapidated road stretch inside the Toro Semliki Wildlife Game Reserve.
From Karugutu, they had worked on the road a bit, but from the bridge, the road is in a sorry state. You delay a lot, our lorries break down, the fuel consumption goes up. A distance you are meant to spend about 2 hours, you end up taking more than 6 hours.
Uganda's main exports through the Ntoroko border post are foodstuffs, whereas the main imports from the DRC is high-quality timber and minerals. Charlotte Amuge and Dennis Sigoa for UBC Business.
And on the international scene, UN agencies voiced deep concern on Wednesday over worsening humanitarian crisis in Mozambique's Cabo Delgado province. Now, the region has been plagued by insecurity since 2017, and the situation, however, deteriorated dramatically last month as militant extremists attacked and reportedly overran the town of Pemba, killing dozens of people. More details in this report.
The province of Cabo Delgado in northern Mozambique has been under continuous violent attacks, allegedly by terrorists. According to the United Nations, the violence there is continuing to escalate. UNAIDS Executive Director Winnie Bianima spent 4 days in the strife-torn province of Mozambique. She was on a mission to assess the plight of displaced people and host communities in the conflict-affected Cabo Delgado province.
Many services are now weakened by attention now being given to a humanitarian crisis. Over 750,000 people have been displaced. That is a huge crisis. So first, there is that situation that needs attention. And then secondly, there is COVID, which has drawn away some of the services for health, not only for HIV, but even for TB and other diseases. So definitely Mozambique is a country that needs support.
UNAIDS is a United Nations organization leading the global fight against HIV and AIDS. The executive director warned that if not brought under control, the humanitarian concerns are likely to impact on neighboring countries.
It's not just a problem in Mozambique. Many countries are also facing these kinds of attacks, especially as they try to develop their natural resources.
The United Nations continues to be on the ground assisting with humanitarian needs.
The United Nations has mobilized food for those who are displaced. We are also on various fronts supporting with medicines, with water and sanitation and so on. But ultimately the solution lies in ending the conflict and people being able to return to their homes, to their farms, to live their lives in peace.
2 weeks ago, South Africa sent troops to northern Mozambique to help secure and repatriate stranded nationals there.
And in the world of sports, the Uganda Premier League has entered its second round with teams contesting at either end of the table to ensure that teams either win the league or at least survive relegation. Various sponsors are boosting morale.
Wakiso Giants are one of Uganda's most followed clubs, and a save for this COVID-19 pandemic draws big crowds, especially for its home games. Such an appeal attracted Vyoma Electronics to assume shirt sponsorship in a multi-million shillings deal. Results for Wakiso Giants in its second season among the big boys haven't precisely gone according to plan, leading their sponsors under their flagship Word Wizard brand to boost morale.
So what we have committed is 65-inch TV, we have committed is 43-inch TV, we have committed is that 32-inch TV, and also we have committed 40-inch TV to the category players. One of the best players will receive 65. The viewer's choice, the fans choice player will receive a 32-inch smart. So there are many gifts.
The sponsors have in fact gone a step further and now promise to increase their offer if the team can manage finishing among the top 3. This is, by the way, still achievable because Wakiso Giants are just 17 points off third place. Yet there are 33 points still to play for.
See, what we have committed, we are assured to give it. Once the performance has increased, number one. Number two, even if they increase more and they come up with the first top 3 rankings, Wakiso Giants, if it is in the list of top 3 rankings, the surprise gifts are yet to come, which will be disclosed once we hear the news that yes, we are under the top list of the table. Right.
Unlike in the past, Uganda's top Premier League has continued to grow, with almost the entire cast attracting sponsors. Teams like Vipers and KCCA boast of sponsors to the tune of billions of shillings, while the lesser teams aren't badly off with multi-million deals that continually show signs of improvement. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Mandela National Stadium, Nambole, will this Saturday be a venue for the Uganda Athletes Federation's 6th national trial. The entry of world champion Joshua Cheptegei and Kenyan runners in the weekend national track and field trials will offer some welcome respite to Ugandan athletes vying to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. This time, Cheptegei will not be competing in his 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters specialty, but 1,500 meters, which will help him develop speed for the 5,000 ahead of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Ugandans Ronald Masagala, Abu Mayanja will be in the spotlight and bound to enjoy the benefits of Cheptegei and Kenyan's stiff opposition in the 1,500 meters as pacers. For local content, stiff competition in the middle distance races is also expected on the day's menu, with world champion Halima Nakai against the new kid on the block, Priska Chesang Chemweno, currently enjoying good form in 800 meters and 1,500 meters. The stiff competition will also offer